I guess to start off, let's just start off watching the Alpha Cup trailer video. So we're going to be talking about the Alpha Cup and what it's all about, and how to get started, and our prizes, and all the rules and things like that. So yeah, let's get started. Let me pull this up here. So basically, the Alpha Cup, it's a 3v3 catch the flag challenge in Minecraft, and the idea is that we will be programming bots to essentially capture the flag, fight the enemy team, and then the first team to 10 flag captures, or the team to have the most points at the end of the 10-minute time limit, is the one that wins the match. And so you have to develop these bots to fight against each other, collect items around the map, collect the flag, and we have a bunch of nice SDKs to actually make all that like pretty easy to do. And right now we support TypeScript, JavaScript, Python. Our Python support is a little bit experimental, but hopefully it'll be coming along over the next few weeks. And yeah, there's pretty cool parts of the map. There's like this cool underground tunnel. We'll actually go look at the map deeper in a few minutes. And I think one of our viewers here, Jasper, asked if the map would be open source in our Discord, and yes, it'll be posted probably right after this stream actually, so you can go and download that and try it out. All right. So, yeah, so if you actually want to go sign up for the event, you can go to the events page and then click on Alpha Cup. You'll notice that there's a playoffs event. This is essentially the first part of the event, which is developing your bots, and then we'll be doing a seeding tournament at the starting April 11th. It'll go on for about a week. We'll just be running matches all week, getting everyone's ranking calculated, and then we will feed all that seeding, all the seeding results into a final bracket, which will then be posted at that time as well. And so our the tournament is sponsored by Steamship, another startup that's working on APIs for doing natural language processing. They're really great. Definitely check them out. You can go to their website at steamship.com. And a little bit about our prizes. So we have, let me zoom in here a little bit too. Oh yeah, if it's hard to see anything on the screen, just let me know. Happy to zoom in or repeat anything. So first place is going to be $1,000 given to the team that wins the final tournament. The final tournament is a bracket style tournament, and so in the end it'll be two teams facing off for first and second place. And then also there's a sponsor prize, which is the most creative use of the Steamship tools to make it so your bots can have some sort of fun chatting behavior. And already came up with some cool ideas. It might be your bots just like trash talking each other. Might have a bot that like commentates the game, or might even using the bot to generate like commands, like, and then command the rest of your team. There's a bunch of different ideas there that we want players to try out. So if you go to steamship.com, you can find some of the tutorials, and we'll be posting some tutorials later on throughout the week as well to get started with Steamship. And important dates. So today is when everything actually starts. Basically what that means is that you can sign up and actually create an event team, and I'll show you how to do that here as well. And then we'll have like this fun little just like early season winner announced. So basically on March 25th, whoever is the current like leader in the ELO for this initial part of the tournament will just like say that they win this little tiny non-monetary prize, basically just bragging rights. And then from April 11th to the 17th, we'll be running that seeding round, and then finally on April 24th, we'll start the finals bracket, and then on April 28th, we will be streaming the top 8 finals. We won't be streaming the finals bracket above the top 8, and we'll be sending out like emails so you can actually go watch your matches if you want to, as they happen live. But these matches will take a little bit while to run, so that's why we're only doing the top 8 final stream. And you can watch the trailer on this event page as well as actually getting into the tutorials and all the getting started guides. And we'll make sure to go through some of that today. And there's also a thing here about the actual rules and eligibility. Everyone is eligible to participate. You just have to be above 13 years old. And then also, if you're out of the U.S., unfortunately, you won't be eligible for the prize money. So if someone's outside of the U.S. and they say they won first place, or second place, they'll basically set to forfeit the prize. Yeah. There's also a calendar in here as well. So if you click on this link, you'll see a community events page, and you'll see here that we have things like the upcoming like different streams that we're going to have, different guides that we're going to be posting. We have a few like little fun events too, like a dev team QA session if you have questions about just at the company and what we're up to. Yeah, we'll have those going on until the end of the tournament. All right. So if you actually want to go sign up, essentially you'll want to go to this events page on our website. You can log in. Let me log in here. And then, so you'll log in, go to the events page, and then at the very bottom, there'll be a section to register your team. You see now we already have a couple teams entered. You should be able to click that you want to register. You can then enter your team name. Could be whatever you want. Only limitation is that it has to be less than 35 characters. And then you'll see your team lineup here. Chances are if you're signing up, you won't have any bots yet. And so you can just leave these blank. And we'll add some note in here this week to make it a little more clear. But once you are ready to submit your team, you can actually just select them and it'll enter them into the little slots up here. You can select the same bot multiple times. And so you don't have to make 3 different bots. Maybe your one bot, all your bot logic is implemented in one bot. And then, your bots might decide to have different roles when they actually get into the game, which is probably going to be the most likely scenario. And so you can actually go and, enter all bots for the slots here, but won't do that for now. And then at the very bottom will be a update or register button. Cool. So that's all you have to do to register for the event. And then once it gets closer to the actual seeding round, we'll send out some more information about what the steps are. So essentially, if your team is all filled out, then we'll automatically activate it. So right now, all the teams will say draft. And once we actually start the seeding, we can activate them if they all have enough bots in those slots. You can also see the leaderboards as well. You'll notice that when you go to the leaderboard for this, there is nothing because we obviously didn't have the seeding tournament yet, and that'll be later. But how this works is that when you actually want to play a game, you can jump into any of our game modes and start playing in a practice match, a battle match. And when you do that, that leaderboard will actually be in the at least for this capture the flag mode, it'll be in this team section right here. I think I can update this later to make it a little more clear, but this is where you'll see all the rankings for what we call open play. And so anything that's outside the tournament, which is essentially the open play you're going to be playing to develop your bots, that'll all be in this leaderboard here. And you can see the rankings of all the users, of all the bots that are also playing. And so, yeah. Let's see who gets first place by the end of the week. I'll make a little post, and hopefully it'll be someone that's watching the stream right now. All right, so let's actually, jump into maybe a little bit about the game itself. So there is a game specification that you can click on on the homepage. There's a bunch of links here that'll be very useful for you as you're diving in. So if you click on game specification, it'll bring you to this Notion page that has a bunch of just all the details about how the game actually works. And maybe before actually jumping into this, let me give you a little sneak peek of the actual game itself, or of the map itself. So this is the field that we're playing on. It's called Arctic Algorithm Field, and this is where all the main action happens. There are 2 bases. There's a blue base and then a red base. And obviously the blue team spawns in the blue base, the red team spawns in the red base. And how this works is that your bots, your team of 3 bots will spawn somewhere on this carpeted area, and then they need to capture a flag and then bring it to this area in the back here. So this is the scoring area. As soon as your bot basically enters this area with a flag, then you'll score a point for your team. But about this base as well, there's some ladders that go up to the top here. You can use this to defend your base or defend your teammates coming back with a flag. Getting the bots up here with the ladder is pretty tough. Very, very curious to see if someone can get that code to do that. I think that'll be a big leg up, especially with some of the items that we spawn that you can bring up there. So interested to see what people can do with that. And so when the bots spawn, when the match actually starts, they'll want to navigate to the center part of the arena. There is a a lava pit here that you want to make sure to avoid, and then also stairs, a little bridge that goes over, and then here's the actual flag. And so how this works is that whenever a bot or a player interacts with the flag or intersects with it, it'll automatically be put in their inventory, and then they'll have that flag essentially captured and ready to bring back to their base. And so, yeah, so they'll bring it back over here. And then also, let me know if you can't hear the sounds from Minecraft. I'm not sure if the desktop audio is coming through. But yeah, so you'll want to capture that flag. You'll want to bring it back to the base. And there are a few effects on like the flag carrier when you're walking. So normally in Minecraft, you can run and sprint and jump and whatnot, which will work for, whenever you're not carrying the flag. But when you are carrying the flag, you will be slowed to a walking speed. So you can only walk when you have the flag. So that's sort of the main mechanic, is that you want to capture that flag and bring it back to the base. But there's also a lot of other parts of this arena that are important. So there's a lot of item spawners. So these spawners right here, and we'll see this when we get into an actual match, they'll spawn a whole bunch of different items, and we'll also go over what those items are. There's one that's over here on this side of the arena. There's one, there's actually two that are near the back of the base here. And then there is, one on the other side as well. And so each base has approximately like 4 spawners near it. And then there's no spawners really like in the middle of the map on the top here, but there is a spawner down underneath. So there is an entrance near each base to go into this this little tunnel here. And so you can go all the way through. And this comes up on the other side, like near the enemy team's base. So you could use this for flanking and, trying to get a little surprise attack on the enemy team. But there is another spawner down here, and this is the best spawner. Each spawner has different types of items that it spawns, and this is definitely the one that spawns the best ones. So we'll just continue our way through here. All right, and so I think that's basically the main parts of the map. And I think, I guess the only thing to mention would be that you can't really break any of the blocks in the map. There are blocks that are spawned as part of these item spawners, and you can place and place and break those blocks, but you can't break any of the blocks that are actually on the default part of the map, essentially. So yeah, definitely go and explore a little bit. Like I said, we'll make this available for download later today. There are little Easter eggs that you can check out. We have like a nice little contribution wall over here. I think one of our people listening in right now is even mentioned on this wall. So yeah, we're very open to open source contributions. We'd love to have players submit any code that they think is interesting or useful for other players. So if you contribute, we will put your name on here and it'll be in the matches. All right, so I think that's it for the map. In terms of the actual specification for the game here, let's jump into that. We'll go over this very quickly. I don't want to spend too much time going through all the specifications, but you can use this to get a full overview of how everything in the game works. So, like I mentioned, the game is structured such that if your team gets 10 flag captures, then you win the match automatically. But sometimes you might reach that 10-minute time limit. And so if that happens, then it's whoever has the most points. And points are scored not just based on flag captures, but also on other things. So, for instance, if you kill a player that's not holding the flag, you get 1 point. If you kill a player that is holding the flag, you get 3 points. Picking up a flag from the ground is 2 points, and then actually capturing the flag at your base is 10 points. And so let's say your bot runs up, it kills an enemy player, it picks up the flag and then scores it. That'll actually be 13 points because you killed someone and you picked up the flag and you scored it. So, yeah, and we'll have right now our calculations for the tie break. So let's say like your team at the end of that time limit has the same number of flag captures and like the same total score. In the end, it ends up being a coin flip. We're going to add a few more tiebreakers to make it a little bit more fair. But right now, that's the current implementation. And as you go through this, you'll see a bunch of information about all the coordinates on the map for the different bases, for the list of unbreakable blocks that you can't block on the map. And you'll also find out throughout this a bunch of links to parts of our documentation or parts of our SDK that are useful in these situations. And so, for instance, we have some example code for finding like the location where you have to score your flag or things like that. And so those are all available like in our tools. All right, so like I mentioned, the bots will spawn inside the bases. Each bot also starts with certain items. So bots start with a wooden axe, a wooden pickaxe, a wooden sword, a damage potion, and a healing potion. So they basically just start with some basic tools and a potion that they can find useful. So it'll be important to think about how can you use those potions to heal up while you're being attacked or getting the flag. Um, and you'll also see that when you start up a match, your bots will be frozen until everyone connects to the match. And so that's basically just to make sure that everyone has like a fair, starting point once the match starts. Then also a couple of notes on respawning. So when you capture the flag will take 10 seconds to respawn. It doesn't respawn instantly. And also when you drop the flag, it'll respawn after a few seconds. Let's say you're running, you drop the flag, or you get killed and the flag drops on the ground. Then it will stay there for a few seconds, but then it'll respawn. And the player respawns are also pretty much exactly the same as regular Minecraft respawning times. Funnily enough, anywhere I looked online, I could not find the information for how long the respawning is for a player in a Minecraft server. So however long the default timing is for how long it takes for you to respawn on Minecraft is how long it takes. It's like less than a second, I think. It's pretty quick. Already went over the flag holder effects. And then I think that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, here's another note is that like when you drop the flag or the flag gets dropped, there's like a 2.5 second delay before anyone can actually pick it up. And then of course, like I mentioned, there's a section on all the item specifications. There's 3 different types of spawners. What's called a basic item spawner, a better spawner, or a best spawner. The basic one, exactly as the name says, we spawn very basic items like swords, axes, bows and arrows, leather, and leather armor, different types of blocks, and a couple potions. The better spawners spawn better items like iron swords and things like that, chainmail armor, as well as slightly better potions. And then finally, the best spawner spawns some pretty good items like diamond armor and a golden apple, tome of undying. Definitely things that'll be pretty useful as you start to try to optimize and your micro macro strategy. So I think that's pretty much it. If you see any issues with our documentation here, definitely just let us know in the Discord. We'll update it as soon as we can. Yeah, I think with that we could probably jump into actually writing our first bot. So there's a couple different ways to write your first bot, and I mentioned this in the Discord. We have a post where we talk about the different ways to get started. There's basically 3 ways to get started, I think. One would be looking at the get started tutorial, which will walk through like everything you need to know about running your first bot. And so all about like setting up your account, connecting your GitHub account to Regression Games, and actually like jumping into a match. So we'll cover basically all this as we go through our stream today. And then there's 2 ways to get started with code. One is to start from a Replit project, which is available in either TypeScript or JavaScript. And then there's also our templates that we have built into Regression Games, and those are also in TypeScript and JavaScript and Python as well. And you can actually like get started from that directly from the UI. And that's what we'll probably show at the end of the stream today. We're probably going to go through like actually, you know what? We probably will start with the simpler templates. It's gonna be a little bit easier to work on that. So cool. Let's get started with that then. So yeah, so what we're gonna do is, so in order to create our bot, we're going to first have our account all set up. When you sign up for Regression Games, you'll have the option to connect both your GitHub account and your Minecraft username. And so if I go to my account settings here, I'll see at the very bottom, I have my GitHub account connected. I can click this again to reconnect it, but we won't do that right now. And then also, finally, we have this username here for your Minecraft username. Make sure this definitely matches your Minecraft username as you see it in the launcher. When you go to launch Minecraft from the Minecraft launcher, it'll say this in the bottom right corner. So make sure it exactly matches that. If it doesn't, then you will never be able to connect to any games. So, all right, I guess we'll just get started with running our bots. So I'm going to go to the bot manager page and then click create bot. Today we're going to be working on a TypeScript bot. If you're not familiar with TypeScript, it's very similar to JavaScript, but with types. And so we'll just use that today. So I'll call this Twitch bot. All right, and I'll copy this. And basically what this is doing is it's creating the bot in my GitHub account, and so then I can go and select it. And you can actually hard code it to a specific commit. Like let's say you have many commits and you just want to hard code it to a certain point in time. You can do that, but we're just going to always have it be pulling the bot from the main branch. This is actually really useful for updating your bot in real time. It'll always just keep pulling that main branch and then using that newest code. And then you almost can always leave path as default unless you're putting your code like in a separate path in your GitHub repository. So we'll do that. Note that our permissions that we asked for on our GitHub is there are quite a bit of permissions. We're going to be trying to improve that at some point in the future. If you are uncomfortable with like the permissions that we asked for on GitHub, I definitely would recommend just like creating a new GitHub account and just having that be the one connected to Regression Games. So, all right. So our bot is created. We can see right here, Twitch bot. It's TypeScript bot. Here's the link to the actual GitHub page. So if I open that, I'll see the initial code, and we'll dive deeper into like what this initial code does. And then also I can see like my last 50 matches here. Right now we haven't played anything yet, so there are no matches. But all right, so there's basically 3 ways you can develop your bots, and you can find this actually in our documentation, and then go to our developing bots section, and you'll find that we have ways to develop bots either locally, so you can just like use Git locally and use whatever editor you want to develop your bots. As long as you just push to that main branch, then everything's all hooked up. You can also use code spaces. This one is one of the easier ones to get started with, where you can actually just edit your code directly from GitHub, which is very useful. And so this is another recommended way to do this. You don't have to really install anything locally. You can do everything from your browser, which is nice. And then finally, you can use Replit. That's one that we'll be using today. And a Replit just makes it easy to have an IDE in your browser as well. So yeah. So I think I've been talking for quite a while. We just jump right into a match and actually start programming this bot. So I'm going to go and open up my Replit account. All right, and then let's go and go to my REPLs. We're just going to create a new one. And I'm actually going to be importing this from GitHub because we just made that GitHub template already, right? And so let me go and select that. Looks like I might need to connect it first. Don't steal my 2-factor authentication. I'll actually switch it just to be safe. All right. Cool. All right, so I'm going to I just permit like all my repositories in this case, but should be able to start searching now for my new bot, which we called what was it here? Twitch bot. I think it started to pop up. Sometimes it can be a little hard to find. Here, let's just try to connect that one directly. Might be easier. All right, let me refresh this and try again. All right, there we go. Start that up. And as we start diving into the code, feel free to ask any questions as we go along. happy to answer any questions. And also, if you have any suggestions for what we should have this bot do, let me know. We're gonna make a pretty simple bot, a bot that can actually just like catch the flag and then also collect items, then maybe also equip armor if it picks up any. But happy to experiment with some other ideas. All right, so the very first thing you're going to do when you jump in is you're going to want to open up the index.ts file. So this is where the bot is located. You'll notice that if it's saying that it can't find some of these modules, sometimes whatever editor you're using, you might need to be actually installing your dependencies. So I'm going to just type npm install in here. This will just take a few seconds. And while this is going on, let's actually just start up a match, and then I can kind of walk through with the code and how it works as we watch our bot. So let me go back here. So from Regression Games, you're going to click on Play. You're going to click on Solo under the Practice Match section. So we're just be practicing with one bot for now, and at the end we'll go and do an actual match here, 3v3. But I'm going to start with Solo, and then we're going to select our Twitch bot, which is the bot we just made. And we're going to queue for a match. And what this is doing is it's starting up our Minecraft server, starting up a match server for us, and then also downloading all the code that you have in that GitHub repository, and then starting up that bot after installing all the dependencies. I think that's one thing that's pretty cool about Regression Games, that you have a lot of freedom for what you pull into your bots, and so we can add new libraries in our dependencies, write pretty much any code we want to, and our system will go in and run that code. So, right, and while we're waiting for that to start up, usually it'll take let's say less than a minute. Usually it won't take too long. Once in a while, it'll take a little bit longer if the server is starting for the first time. But yeah, let's go and look at some of this code that we have here. So let me make sure this is zoomed in enough. So yeah, so the strategy for this bot is quite simple. What it's going to do is it's going to repeatedly go and find the flag, and then go capture the flag, and then bring it back to the base. And so how these bots work on Regression Games is that you can basically react to like events that are happening in the match, or just like read the game state of what's going on in the match at that moment. And so just to go into a very quick example here, we have this line of code, bot.onSpawn, await RG CTF utils approach flag. And so what this is saying is whenever the bot receives a spawn event, which means that the bot is spawning onto the map, what it's going to do is it's going to use our capture the flag utilities, and it's going to command the bot to go and approach the flag. And so you'll see if we hover over this, we'll see that approach flag, what it does is it commands the bot to move towards the flag location if the flag actually exists on the map. And then it will not follow like a flag like carrier around, but it will simply move the bot to the location where the flag is. And then once it gets there, it'll pick up the flag if it's still there when it gets there, and then that's the end of that command. So if we look a little deeper at like how all this code works, we'll see that on spawn we're going to approach the flag, and then there's another event that we have, which is when the flag is obtained by the bot, then we are going to go and score the flag, which essentially means that we're commanding the bot to move toward the flag, toward the bot's base. So if I'm a red team bot, then I'll move toward the red base. If I'm a blue team bot, I'll move toward the blue base and score. And so let's go back to our Regression Games dashboard here. Looks like we're ready to go. How you'll want to get into the match is that you'll want to copy the server address. And so you just click copy. And then within Minecraft, let's go open that up now. So in Minecraft, I'm going to go exit this server. I'm going to click on direct connection, which is at the bottom of the multiplayer screen, and then I'm just going to copy and paste in that IP address that I got from the match dashboard. So I'll click join server. It'll just take a few seconds to connect, and now we're in here, and we'll see that our bot is here, ready to go. And so so you can walk around like in the practice match. You can walk around as a player and interact with things. So let's go take a look at our code here. And we will look at what's going on. So let's see here. So yeah, so like I mentioned, like on spawn, it's supposed to go and approach the flag. Obviously, when we just got into the match, we see that it wasn't doing that. On spawn is actually not the best function to use here because the player may spawn like way before the match actually starts because, as you can see, it was actually waiting for us to join the match, and so it likely got stuck, and then you terminate this action. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to click the refresh button here, and when I click the refresh button, the bot will actually reload instantly, and then it'll spawn, and then it should start approaching the flag. So let me actually switch to the split mode that I have. Hopefully this works. All right, cool. So I click refresh. You'll see my bot instantly leaves the match, and when it restarts, it should start to move. Yep. So we'll see that it's starting to approach the flag now. We'll follow it along, make sure it's doing what it's supposed to. So it captures the flag, and then sees that it gets that event that it captured the flag, and then is going to call that score flag function, and now it is moving back toward the base. And you'll see that there's bubbles around him. That's the slowing potion that makes it so that they're at walking speed when they have the flag. And so as soon as they cross the barrier, they have that flag captured. And you'll notice now that what they're doing is they're going around and capturing some items. We're about to go over that code as well. But basically what this bot will do is it'll go and capture items around the base until the flag respawns. And then now that it's respawned, it is running back toward the flag. So yeah. So let's go take another look at this code here. All right. One useful thing too before we jump into the code, you can actually see a lot about your bot's information here. So one, we can see all the scores, we can see how many kills they got, the deaths, the pickups, things like that. And then also, if you click, like I mentioned, if you click on this bot, you'll see their inventory, and then also you can even see their logs here as well. So if you click show logs, we can see all the logs from that bot, which is really useful for debugging. If you want to like print out, positions of things, figure out what the state of your bot is, if there's a bug, this is very useful for debugging some of that. And then you can also see the game logs. These are not really used too often. These are really useful for if like there's something really weird happening with the game itself. This would be useful for debugging that and sending it to the developer team, but we'll ignore those for now. So yeah, let's go back to our bot code. So just going through a little bit more of this code. So like I mentioned, when the flag is obtained, then it will score the flag. You'll notice that we do a check here to see if collector equals bot, the bot username. And what this means is we're checking to see if the person who collected the flag actually is this bot, because we'll get this event for any bot that picks up the flag. So you can determine if like a teammate picked up a flag, if an enemy picked up a flag, and so we'll actually look at, okay, is bot username equal to our username? Is collector equal to our username, and then also score the flag if that is the case. So, all right, cool. And then finally, the last part of this code, or maybe almost the final part of this code, is that when the flag is scored, ignore this code for a second. We'll cover this in a second. But when the flag is scored, we're going to go and collect items on the ground until the flag is back in its spawn location. And so what rgctfutils.getFlagLocation does is getFlagLocation will return the location of the flag on the map unless it's in a player's possession or it's waiting to respawn, in which case this will be null. And so what we're basically doing here is while the flag is not respawned yet, then we're just going to go and find and collect items on the ground, and then we're going to wait for half a second and then try to find the flag again. And so we'll just keep finding items on the ground and collecting them until the flag is available, at which point we'll also approach the flag. Cool. And then finally, when the flag is available, so when it spawns on the map, we are going to go and approach the flag. This is useful for like when we're not inside this code right here of like, collecting items, then going to approach the flag. This is just like in general. Otherwise, if we have the flag, if we see the flag become available, then we'll go after that. And Phalocrux, thanks for the follow. Phalocrux is also another developer on Regression Games, so thanks for stopping by. So that's the basic outline of the algorithm here. As we saw from the bot itself, it should still be collecting things. Let's go see where the bot currently is. Yep, you see the bot over there coming back to collect the flag, and so far it's collected the flag 6 times. It'll just keep doing this. There's been times where I've let this running for a couple hours, and it captures like 50, 60 flags. In the practice mode, there are no time limits, so you can just keep going. And yeah, the stream's going well. For people tuning in, this is our first stream. Pretty excited to finally be doing this. Going smoother than I thought so far. Things are at least working, so that's good. But cool, awesome. So now what we're going to do is we're going to implement some new code to our bot to now equip armor if it captures if it picks up armor from our item spawns. And so let's go in and work on that. And also, if anyone has suggestions for other things you should implement in this bot, just let me know, and we can dive into that. All right, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding a new event handler. So we're going to respond to a new event, and this event is going to be when we pick up items off the ground. And what we want to do is, if it is an armor, then we want to equip that armor. And so what I'm going to do here is we're going to do bot.on. And then CTF event is basically this this class that has a bunch of different properties on it for a bunch of different constants on it for responding to different types of events. Let me actually open up the documentation for that so I can show you how that works. All the docs can be found, at least if you're going from the templates, at the top of the configure bot function. We link some of these docs in there as well. So. All right, so if I go into the source code for this, so you'll see that we have the CTF event class, and we have things like events for flag obtained, flag available, flag scored, item detected, item collected, all those sort of things. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be responding to the item collected event. And what's really nice is that if you're doing this like in any modern IDE, you'll actually see the documentation pop up, and there's an example that you can use for starting with this code. So I'm going to do item detected, and we'll see if I hover over this, it'll actually give me an example. So I'm just going to try to copy paste that if I can. Yep. Don't know if that copied. Right. It likes to disappear pretty quickly, I guess. All right, let's see if that worked. Nope, it did not. All right, we'll copy from just the docs directly. Oops. All right. All right, so we're just going to start off with let's make sure we import some of these. Sometimes you'll have to import different types of objects or classes that you're using when using TypeScript. In this case, we're using entity and item classes, which come from MindFlayer. MindFlayer is the packages that we use that kind of like help us communicate with the Minecraft server. And so let me just go copy and paste that from this as well. We'll come to this. Put these imports at the top, and then we'll also want to import item from Prismarine item. All right. Cool. So now if we save this code and push it to Git, then we'll actually see it say these messages when it collects an item, and I'll also demonstrate the logging features here as well. So let's maybe print out, I guess, the item that we pick up. All right, and it looks like I forgot that. All right, cool. So as I mentioned before, in order to push code to your bot, what you need to do is just push your code using GitHub. So if you're in Replit, there's two options here. One, you could use the Git pane. I find the Git pane to be a little bit trickier to use, so often I'll just try to use the actual shell. So if you click on the shell option, you can click the shell option open from when you open up a new tab. There should be a shell option here as well. So we'll open up this pane, and then we can see the status of our current Git repository. We see a few changes, and so I will just add those in, commit those. We'll say that this is chat when seeing an item, and then we'll push this. Replit will ask you for permissions to use your GitHub credentials, which we just did. And now if we go back to our code or our game here, we'll see that our bot left the game. So you see the bottom says Twitch bot left the game, and then it'll quickly respawn. And so our bot is over there, still working. Sometimes it'll get a little stuck with this code. Hopefully we can have some better templates coming soon. But let me just restart this bot, and then we'll get it unstuck here. Right. Basically what I'm doing is there's a slight bug with this code where if your bot respawns and picks up the flag immediately, sometimes it'll get stuck. So the solution is to force it to respawn and then pick up the flag while it's over there. So we captured the flag ourselves. Now we're going to wait for our bot to capture it, and then they should run back to base. Any second now. Oh, looks like they're a little bit more stuck than I would hope for. All right, since they're a little more stuck, what we're going to do is we're just going to add another command to, get them to sort of behave, hopefully. So what I'm going to do is, inside our code here, I'm going to add a new command. And this is also very useful for just quick debugging and quickly getting your bot unstuck. Is that you can say, okay, I just want to do something when I type a command into the chat. And so we'll do bot on chat, and then it's the username, and then the message is what comes in when you chat. All right, and then basically what I'm going to say is if the message equals score, then the bot is just going to go and try to score the flag. And so this will help us in these situations where it's a little stuck, doesn't know what to do. And so we'll just do bot dot. Actually, we'll do rgctfutils dot score flag. All right, and you may be wondering, where is this rgctfutils coming in from? So whenever you configure your bot, you always have this bot object coming in right here. Oh, sorry, I need to scroll down a little bit. Right here we have this rgbot object that comes in, and what we do is we instantiate all of our capture the flag utilities by importing and using this other class that we have, which is rgctfutils, and we give it the bot reference. And so what this basically does is it attaches to the bot a bunch of logic to help us with the capture the flag event, is the idea. So yeah, so now that's all loaded in. So now when we type score into the chat, it should be able to go and score the flag. So let's see if that works here. So I'm going to go and push this code. This is happening off screen because you only have part of this code available or viewable inside our video right here. But I'm going to commit with the message of added new chat command. And we'll push it. And then we should see our bot refresh. All right. And then it'll respawn, has the flag. And what we'll do is we'll do type in score. Hopefully this should work. Yep. So now we see it going to score. So this is pretty useful for getting your bots to do certain things. I've even added, some of you may be familiar with this. JavaScript and TypeScript has an eval function, which lets you just evaluate just arbitrary JavaScript, and so you could add a chat command that will then execute arbitrary JavaScript, and so you can actually just like call some of the bot commands automatically from the chat in Minecraft. We'll let some of our more advanced users do that. So you'll see here now in the chat, we added that command, that event listener, for seeing when we pick up items. And so you'll see that it actually is printing out, oh, I picked up leather boots, picked up a stone axe. And so we are responding to that event properly now. And we'll also go look at our console here. You'll remember that we went and added a piece of code here that also would like log it to the console. And so if I go back to Regression Games, I look at my console here, I can see that it's actually printing out that information. And so this is very useful for debugging if you need to see a bunch of information about, a certain item. Cool. So now the next part is we're going to be equipping armor. And so what we'll do is, the logic's pretty simple. The logic is simply, if we pick up an item, try to equip armor. it's pretty straightforward. And what's nice is that there's actually a library that does this for us. And here we'll also demonstrate how to link in other libraries that you might want to use. And so there is a library called, let me open it up here. A library called Mindflayer Armor Manager. And this is the one that we're going to be using to essentially equip armor. So I'm just going to copy this. This is from another project. This is from one of my test bots called Drop Table Bots. And so I'm going to go back to my code here. I'm going to go to my package.json, and I'm going to add this right here. And then in order to use this package, you can go read the documentation for Mindflayer Armor Manager. But what I'll have to do is, let's go look at this code. We'll have to import it using this require function. And then what we'll do is we will go and attach it to our bot using, it's down here somewhere. Let's see, armor. Yeah, right here. We'll do bot.mindflayer load plugin armor manager. So, yeah, and then once we have that located in there, actually equipping armor should be as simple as just, let's see here. Yep, down here we have an example of that. We basically just equip all the armor if we can, is the idea. And you'll see here, this is actually a good example of like how I'm using it in another item collected listener. It's possible that like our bot will pick up an item and then not immediately realize that it has that item. So sometimes it can be a little bit slow to register that you have some new items in your inventory. And so what we're doing here is we're not calling armor manager.equip all instantly. What we're doing is we're waiting for 100 milliseconds and then calling that code. And so that's what set timeout does, is it'll run this function after 100 milliseconds is the idea. So let's try that out. We'll go back here. Inside of here, we're going to just put this code. If you save and replit, it'll also format your code, which is pretty nice. And then also we need to actually register this armor manager with Mindflayer. And so that was the code at the top of what we were just looking at. Right here. We'll copy this over. And then we will register this plugin. There are a lot of really great Mindflayer plugins. I definitely recommend checking them out. If you go to the Mindflayer documentation, which you can actually get to from our homepage, there's a Mindflayer link in here somewhere. Yep, right here. And you'll be able to find a bunch of examples on how to use Mindflayer. Like I mentioned, Mindflayer is like the framework that we use underneath RGBot. So RGBot has a bunch of abstractions, a bunch of easy to use functions for interacting with your bots. But then Mindflayer is a little bit lower level, but has a lot of other parts to it that you can like mess around with. So things like opening chests and crafting items and shooting bows and arrows and all that sort of cool stuff. And they have a bunch of examples on here as well, if you want to take a look at those. All right. So did I copy over that code? Oh, I have to do the second part. we'll just register this at the very top. Awesome. And then one more thing I'll do as well is, if you notice, if you go to our bot right now, you'll see that it likely already has some armor. You can see its inventory is getting pretty full. So because it already has armor attached to it, we can actually go and have it equip those items like when it spawns. I guess for now, let's not do that, because then you can see the example of how it actually... actually, no, we will just have it do it when it spawns. I think that'll be a little easier. I think we might have too many items to even pick up now, and so it makes sense just to do that. So we'll go back to the code here. So in spawn, once it actually spawns, we'll go and equip that armor. We're just going to copy and paste the code from here. All right. Cool. So now we're going to go and push this code. We go back to our bot now. All right, we see the bot over here. It should respawn any second. And you should see it immediately equip armor, if this works properly. And there it goes. So equipped a leather suit. And so this is pretty useful for having code like this that we're going to respond to, things like you're picking up an item and you just want to equip the best weapon, the best armor, whatever it may be. It's usually a good idea to do that. So yeah, oh, I just realized that I'm not showing the right screen here. My bad. All right, here we go. Yeah, here's it wearing the armor. So cool, awesome. I guess next, in terms of how to extend this bot further, there are a few different things you can do. I'd say a good place to start might actually be our documentation page. And so let me go back to our homepage. You'll see here that we have, let me pull this up. Right. So from our homepage, you'll see that we have this documentation link. And if you go to RGBot SDK, this has all the different functions and utilities that you'd want to use when interacting with your bot. You can see there's a lot of them. Everything from wandering around, to following entities, to attacking players, to interacting with like items or crafting. Lots of different things you can do in here, and also there's a lot of like utilities that make it really easy just to do a lot of things that might be difficult typically if you're familiar with Mind Flayer. So yeah, I guess trying to think if there's anything else we might want to implement here. I think that mostly might be it. I think what we could probably do now is probably jump into an actual 3v3 game just to show how that works. And then I think a good exercise left to the reader might be to go and extend this code a little bit further. I'll make sure to copy up this code and put it into GitHub so people can go and download it later and try it out. But one thing that might be really useful is to go and actually try to implement some sort of attacking logic. I'll share a snippet of code as well that I have for attacking. What's cool about these bots is that there's a lot of different ways to do things. So whether you're doing things in a main loop and you're responding to like actions in the game, or you're just doing things that are like more event driven, a lot of different ways to do it. But there's some code here that I can share where your bot can like follow another bot and then also attack opponents if they get in range. And attacking is like pretty easy as well. We have like an attack entity function that you can use. And so I'll share this snippet of code for others in the Discord if you're curious. But cool. So yeah, let's jump into an actual battle match here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the dashboard, and in order to leave the match, I'm just going to click abandon match. If you're in a practice match, if you leave the Minecraft client, then you'll also abandon the practice match. So I'll just click that. You'll see here that we have like some match history now with some information about what went down during that match. I'm going to return to the lobby, and I'm going to disband this lobby and then create a new one. We're going to create a battle match, and in this case, I'm just going to select 3 of all the bots that we just made. And so in the 3v3 mode, you can select 3 different bots, two the same bot, 1 different bot, or all the same. So yeah, so we're just going to queue up for a match now. And you'll see that right now we're fighting against Attacker, Collector, and Collector. These are what are called our system bots. It's bots that we have provided as like a opponents that you can fight against. As people start playing, there will be other people's bots in here, and so we actually do try to do some matchmaking with Elo and whatnot to have you go against people who are around the same skill level as you work your way up, or hopefully not down in the rankings. Any questions as we wait for this to load at all? All right, our game is started up, and now we're going to connect to this IP. Turns out, I think this is the same IP as we used last time. Let's see. Yeah, it's the same one. Oh, switch over to the game. All right. You'll notice that when you are playing in the 3v3 mode, that you are a spectator. You're not actually another player that's inside the map with these bots, and so you can like fly through things and whatnot. So you can't have any effect on the game as a spectator. Technically, you could type in chat and actually talk to your bots. I'm curious to see if people use that as a strategy. We'll see what people do. Might be able to use that to do some coordination of your bots. And sometimes it just takes a few, maybe like a minute to download and install the modules for your bots. If you do want to check on the status of how your bots are loading, you can always look inside of your logs for the bots. So here we can click on these and see, the logs, see how things are going. You can see that it still is downloading. Sometimes it takes a little bit while to do that. And also, you cannot see the logs for the enemy team. So you can only see the logs for your own bots. So no cheating that way. We'll go back to the live game. Hopefully the attacker bots will be loading up. Yeah, it looks like they're loading up. If you click tab, you can also see what's connected, which is useful. And we can also go to the red team and see them connect. It seems like the red team attacker is very, very angry. All right, here they go. So we see the enemy team starting to go for the flag. I think our team is actually not doing anything yet. I think if you remember, we added that start command. Maybe that'll work. So it looks like one thing that we forgot to do is add some logic for. I think you remember if initially our spawning logic was not the best because it doesn't actually wait for the match to start. It just on spawn. We do have a tutorial on how to correctly call your starting code when a match starts. So what I'm just going to do here, if you ever get stuck in this situation, I think this will be a good example of how to do this. I'm going to go to my browser, and I'm just going to click refresh on all my bots here. And then they'll all respawn, and they should be able to actually start doing what we wanted them to do. Oh, here he goes. Awesome. The other ones are still joining. Another cool feature of the spectator mode is that you can actually click, if you left click on a bot, you can actually see it from their perspective, which is fun. Oh, you'll see that we have some fighting here. Attacker bot is actually successfully attacking people. Looks like it's going to attack this player. One thing I did not mention, if you're an enemy, if you're an opponent to a team and you're in their base, then you will actually take damage. It says in our game specification how much damage you take. Not sure if Fatal Crux is still here. I think she might have the information on how long or what the rate of damage is in the base. Yeah, so bots will take damage. Yeah, it looks like 1.25 hearts per second of damage you'll take. Cool. Well, it looks like our team is on its way to victory. Looks like the enemy team, they have 2 collectors and 1 attacker, so they don't actually have any flag runners. That's another type of bot that we have built in. And so even though the team is very angry, I don't know if they'll be able to make get enough points before our team you know scores the flag. And what's cool is actually, if you remember, we just added our armor management logic here, so we see that our flag runner here actually has some armor, which may help us score before we're killed. So yeah, so it'll be pretty important to make sure that your bots just like don't go anywhere that you want. As we see here, the attacker bot is just like trying to attack the nearest enemy, and it's ending up in the opponent base, which is not very good. So lots of things to think about there. All right. You'll also notice that this spot right here, it actually picked up dirt blocks, which can be very useful. We did our own little internal dev tournament, and we saw some pretty interesting strategies using the dirt blocks. I don't want to reveal anything yet, but I definitely encourage you guys to think about what you can do with those. Awesome. So see that attacker bot picked up the flag, but then it dropped it in the lava. When the flag is dropped in the lava, it will respawn at the center of the map, and so we see that our bot here also was able to capture it. Oh yeah, that's another thing I forgot to mention. When your bot captures the flag, it will be highlighted your team color, so you can kind of identify easily like which bot has the flag. We also have some more tutorials for how to determine like which bots have the flag, where they might be. Lots of utilities around that. Right, looks like we have some bots rushing to get the flag. Attacker sees our teammates approaching. Looks like it's trying to chase down our flag runner. We'll see if it oh, looks like it's actually not going for that one. All right. So matches are 10 minutes long, or until the team, like I said, reaches 10 flag captures. I think in this case, the blue team, my team, is seems to be doing pretty good. It'll probably get the 10 captures for the time limit. You'll see the red team is getting some points. They're getting points from capturing at least picking up the flag a few times and also killing the teammates. So you'll see there that the score just went from 12 to 13 for the red team because they killed one of the enemies. And like I mentioned before as well, you can see all these scores within the match dashboard. So see here we have the scores of each team of each user. We can even see how each bot is performing on an individual level, and so we can see that the attacker is obviously getting the most points, while as the collectors and the red team are not doing very good because they're just standing back and collecting different items on the map. Awesome. Well, I think this match will probably end pretty soon. I won't make us sit through another 4 minutes. Let's see anyone has ideas for other things we may want to implement in our bots. There's a lot of different strategies. We've been doing a lot of playtesting over the past few weeks of this game, and there's a lot of different things you can do with the different items. How can you use the bows and arrows effectively? How can you go and look into the... let me get straight to the game, actually. How can you go and explore like the tunnel and get good items from down here? How can you go and like team up? How do you team up with your bots and actually write good like micro strategy? So how can you have like all 3 bots attack one enemy at the same time? Is another useful strategy to look into. So lots of cool stuff, lots of things that we're excited to see players come up with. If you do have any suggestions, we will be making some patches like throughout this season. I'm guessing that like maybe like on a almost like on a weekly basis we might be making some adjustments, and it'll often be based on player feedback. So awesome. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this stream. Definitely make sure to go and sign up Like I mentioned on our website, if you go to the events page and you click on Alpha Cup, you'll see all the information here about this first tournament. We have $1,900 in prizes. It's pretty excited to have a prize pool for our very first tournament, and you can go and sign up down at the bottom. And like I mentioned before, you don't have to have bots yet to actually sign up. You just can sign up with your team name and reserve that team name, and then you can always attach bots later. So yeah, I believe that's it. Thanks for tuning into our very first stream. We'll be doing quite a few of these over the next month or two, um, and we'll be releasing some guides and some more information and fun code snippets over the next couple weeks as well. So yeah, I appreciate you showing up and watching. And if you have any questions, just join our Discord. There's a Discord. There'll be a Discord link in the Twitch profile description as well. So, all right, thanks.